Welcome everyone to our demo of Akeyless versus Legacy, the next generation of secrets management. I'm Miriam Brand. I'm here with Fahmi Kadiri, who's our customer success director at Akeyless. And he's going to give a quick recap of our last webinar and then launch into the demo. So Fahmi, please take it away.
All right. Thank you, Miriam.
Sorry. One little housekeeping matter before we start. If you have questions at any point during the webinar, please put them in the Q&A section, and we will address them at the end. Go ahead, Fahmi.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Miriam, and welcome, everyone. My name is Fahmi Kadiri. I lead our customer success team for North America. And today I wanted to continue on what we discussed in the last session that we had, which was talking about legacy solutions and the modern approach to managing secrets. Where we left off last time was around the issues that we see with legacy solutions. So we categorize them in three categories: scalability, resource overhead and cost, and then developer effort and friction. And so with regards to scalability, with legacy solutions, you have on-premise faults. Those on-premise faults are limited in their scaling capabilities. So for example, you would need to deploy, if you're in a multi-region, multi-cloud environment, or even a hybrid cloud environment, you would need to deploy multiple clusters. And you need to manage high availability across all of those regions. And you need to deal with how you're going to share secrets, and and you need to manage all of that, right? So scaling is challenging as your environment grows, but also managing the additional cost, both in resources and infrastructure. Legacy on-prem solutions, generally have high maintenance cost because they need to be managed by the team, right? So you need to have dedicated teams to manage these specialized systems. They need to apply patches, version upgrades, etc. And this can consume quite a bit of time from your people. Additionally, there's also the infrastructure costs that you need to maintain. Just to give you an example, I was working with a retailer, and the retailer has peak seasons, right? Things like Boxing Day and Black Friday and all of the holidays generally where there's peak shopping happening. And so what they needed to do was to build out their infrastructure to be able to handle the load for those busy seasons. But the load is not consistent throughout the year. And so what ends up happening is there's a lot of infrastructure waste. They're over provisioning to handle for peak, the peak activity, but the majority of the time is not being used. So underutilized or wasted infrastructure costs as well. And then from a developer effort standpoint, legacy systems slow down innovation. There's development bottlenecks like waiting for security approvals or complex integrations. And so you have developers that are looking for workarounds. And so they choose to operate in, sort of a siloed environments to be able to move quickly on their objectives. So what is the solution? So from an Akeyless standpoint, we solved the scalability issue with our SaaS-first platform. It's built in multi-regional high availability. We offer automatic scaling on demand, so that the burden of managing scaling is taken off of the user's responsibility. And then it's a unified platform. So think of it as uh, any type of authentication, whether it's a user or a machine identity, we're offering a 360-degree view across all of that. And so we're providing a unified, consistent approach in how we manage authentication and authorization across the board. From a resource overhead standpoint, again, it goes back to being a SaaS first architecture. So you don't need to deploy expensive, difficult to manage infrastructure, particularly if you're hybrid or multi-cloud. From an Akeyless standpoint, you just need to deploy our gateways, which are stateless Docker container, and this reduces the infrastructure and management overhead costs significantly. And some of the customer metrics that we were able to collect, we were hearing upwards of 70% cost savings compared to self-hosted solutions. And then from a developer effort standpoint, we integrate with a variety of CI/CD tools. We have robust automation and secretless capabilities, and we're built for the modern cloud workloads. So what I'll do now is go into the demo and just walk you through how that works. But before I do that, I want to cover briefly how this is enabled on our side. It is the Akeyless Gateway. So think of the gateway as a proxy to our SaaS platform. It's a stateless Docker container that you can deploy on Kubernetes, which is the recommended approach for production deployments. Or you can deploy it in Docker. You can also deploy it on a Linux machine. I've seen it run on Windows. So there's a lot of different modes of operation for the gateway, including what we call serverless gateway that you can deploy on Azure or AWS as well if you don't want to run any infrastructure whatsoever. But the gateway is a proxy to our SaaS platform. The gateway can be deployed on-prem, can be deployed in the cloud, and by default, the gateways talk to one another, right? So, think of use cases where you need to share secrets from one environment to another environment. It's seamless in Akeyless through the gateway network. And if you have environments where they need to be isolated and segregated, you can, through RBAC, segregate one gateway from the rest of the environment. You can also go a step further with what we call zero-knowledge encryption, which basically cryptographically isolates one gateway from the others by deploying what we call a customer fragment. So when you enable zero-knowledge encryption, it isolates the gateways so that, let's say you have a PCI environment and you want to keep everything in that PCI environment segregated from everywhere else. You deploy a gateway with a customer fragment that only that gateway has and no other gateway shares that fragment. The other use for the customer fragment is it ensures that Akeyless doesn't have access to your secrets. Even though we're providing the solution, we need multiple fragments to be used at the same time. One of the fragments which lives on the customer side, we don't have access to, right? So it gives you sort of the best of both worlds, the ability to leverage the ease of use and a SaaS platform to, as well as knowing that no one can access your secrets except you or those you've authorized to access your secrets, not even the vendor. And then the gateway also supports things like just-in-time dynamic secrets, rotated secrets, also migration from other platforms. If you already have a secrets management tool solution in place and you want to migrate those secrets from that existing solution to Akeyless, the gateway also facilitates that. The other thing not mentioned here is high availability. So the gateway performs caching as well. So let's say, one of your applications needs access to a secret. Without caching, typically the secret gets pulled from the Akeyless SaaS through the gateway and then delivered to that application that needs it. When you enable caching, the gateway can detect when it's in offline mode. So it pulls all the secrets it has access to into an encrypted read-only file system. That file system is locked until the gateway detects that it's in a disconnected state. And then when it's in a disconnected state, the user or application will continue to fetch a secret the way they normally do, transparently. So they don't know that the gateway is disconnected. they are able to fetch the secret from the gateway. The gateway will just pass that secret to that application. And once service is restored, then the gateway will continue its regular operation of syncing secrets back to the cloud. So with that said, I'll stop here and I will go through a demo of the solution. So let's switch to our console here. So my console has access to the Akeyless gateway that I've deployed. This one's deployed in GCP. And you can see on the left-hand side, I have a menu of items that I can pick from. I'm going to start off with items, and I'll just show you one use case. I'll show you different versions of that use case. We're going to start with dynamic secrets. So dynamic secrets are credentials that are generated just in time on demand. And you can see here we support a variety of different dynamic secrets: databases, cloud providers, Kubernetes, remote desktop, infrastructure tools, including our custom producer. So anything that we do not support out of the box today, you have a custom in-house application that you're building, you can use the custom producer in order to deliver just-in-time secrets. The credentials, or I should say the permissions rather, are baked into those dynamic secrets. So you can create different dynamic secret profiles. One can be a read-only, one can be a read-write, another can have tailored permissions of what that secret can do. And so you create these profiles and they're baked into the secret. Now, the users that need to get access to those secrets, based on our back, you would provide them access to one or more of those dynamic secret profiles. So you'll see an example here. When I go to dynamic secrets, I'm going to go to databases. We're going to choose this Postgres database as our example. I'm going to click on Get Dynamic Secret. And when I click on Get Dynamic Secret, you can see a couple of things. One, my username is embedded into the username itself, actually my name. So you can see my first name and a part of my last name here. You'll see what the credentials are. You'll see that it expires in 14 minutes. This is user configurable. The default is an hour. For the demo, I set it to just 15 minutes. But after 15 minutes, that credential expires. And if I lose it, no problem. I can request another dynamic secret. And each time I'm generating a just-in-time dynamic secret with the permissions baked into this profile, right? This one has read-write, but I can create one that is restricted to only read activities and then assign it to individuals that only need to read data as opposed to write data. We talked about developer friction. One of the areas that we focus on is meeting people where they are, not necessarily forcing them to use our way of operating, right? So we're not forcing everybody to go through the UI. If someone's comfortable in CLI, there is a CLI that they can install and perform the same activities. If they're comfortable with API, there's Akeyless APIs as well as a browser for non-technical users, right? A browser plugin. So here you can see I'm going to select my browser plugin on the top right-hand corner. I've already favorited to two types of secrets. One is a rotated secret, another is a dynamic secret. Same one that we looked at here. So I'm going to click on this Postgres DB. I'm going to click on Show Value. This is the rotated secret, but let's choose the dynamic one. So when I click on Show Value, same scenario, username, password, expiry in 15 minutes. The way this works on the Akeyless side is that in the database, you need to create a root user. That root user needs to be provisioned in what we call a target. Think of a target as a placeholder for the master secret, your golden creds, right? So that target has the credential that is needed or that is called by this dynamic secret producer. So Akeyless is using a root credential for the database in order to generate a dynamic secret with those permissions that are set for what that profile needs to have. And then once those dynamic secrets are expired, then Akeyless goes and deletes that credential. Now, one question that comes up is, well, you have a target credential here that has the root password for this application, and that's a long-lasting credential in itself. And so the way that Akeyless handles it is through another object that we call rotated secrets. And this is an automated process. There's no scripts to manage. There's no additional out-of-band processes that you need to follow. So if I click on this GCP Postgres DB rotated secret, you'll see under the rotation configuration, I'm setting the rotator type as the target. So I'm basically telling it to rotate itself, right? And the policy that I've set is that every 30 days. So every 30 days, that target cred gets rotated. And then you can see under versions, all of the different versions that I've created over time since this secret was first, or this target credential was first created. And if I do show you the credential and you see what that password looks like, no problem. I can also rotate it on demand, right? So I'm just going to click on rotate secret again. And now that secret is rotated. And under versions, you can see that there is a new version created. We also talked about how to access secrets from other components, right? So we covered the browser extension, we covered the UI. There is the capability to also use the Akeyless CLI. So in CLI, you can see an example here where I just call get dynamic secret value. And there's the new dynamic secret with the username, the password, the TTL. I can do this through API as well. If you go to our docs.akeyless.io, there's the API builder you can sandbox with. But here I just need to provide the authentication token. I've already set this ahead of time. And then when I click on try it, it will create another dynamic secret. So many ways to integrate with Akeyless, whether it's UI, CLI, API, SDKs, also other integrations like Terraform and CI/CD tools. So lots of ways to interface with it with Akeyless. But the core value that we bring is the ease of use, the wide integrations that we have, the ability to do automated rotated secrets, as well as dynamic secrets. But most people that we talk to already have a secrets platform in place, right? So they're not starting from scratch. It's usually not greenfield. You have some other secrets tool that you're using, whether it's in GCP, Azure, or AWS, or you're using secrets, in HashiCorp Vault, and some other tools. And so we have the capability to also automatically migrate secrets. All right, so we call that automatic migration. So you can see here, if I click on automatic migration and I click on my gateway, I go to new, I can migrate secrets from any of these platforms. The 3 cloud platforms out there, other infrastructure tools, including HashiCorp Vault, Active Directory, and any subsequent migration that I do. Let's say I configure HashiCorp Vault, and then I initiate a migration the first time. It will download all of the secrets and store it in the folder path that I specified. But any subsequent migration is going to be just looking at the differences, right? So any changes that have been made since my initial migration are going to be synced to Akeyless. We also have use cases where you don't want to migrate secrets. You just want to keep working in the secrets area or the secret platform that you're already using. right? In that scenario, we provide a capability called Universal Secrets Connector that will connect with AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes secrets, and HashiCorp Vault. And it's a two-way sync, right? So it's not just a one-way sync from the third-party platform to Akeyless, also from Akeyless to the third party. And so typically this covers most of our customers' use cases as it relates to secrets, but Akeyless is a unified secrets platform, unified secrets and identity platform. And what I mean by that is I'm going to stop the demo right now and I'll pivot to the presentation again. And in the presentation, we're going to cover we're going to look at an overall overview, right? So this is, think of it as a framework. So on the left-hand side, you have the who and where, who's logging in and where they're logging in from. You have your users, your cloud providers, your on-premise, your microservices and applications. We provide a variety of different authentication methods tailored to those use cases. Users typically we want to federate with SAML, OIDC, etc. And cloud providers, we want to use a federated cloud identity using the cloud providers themselves. Right, so if you're in AWS, you're going to use AWS IAM. And for on-premise, where a cloud identity is not a viable option, we bootstrap an identity to those workloads with what we call universal identity. And so we provide identity in those scenarios where one isn't readily available. And then all of those are unified into a single authorization framework that provides create, update, delete list permissions that, through RBAC, provides granular access to folders and secrets. And then our gateway is where, that's deployed close to where those applications live. So close to where your targets and your automations live. And you can deploy as many gateways as you need. And through the gateway, you can do logging, collect metric information, automation, kick off automations. And then at the very, very right, we have our targets and secrets. So we already covered the Postgres target. That's just one example. But there are many types of targets you can create, including custom targets for any custom applications that you have. And then in terms of secrets, we covered the rotated secrets, dynamic secrets. I showed you a little bit about Universal Secrets Connector. And essentially, it's a unified platform for any type of secrets and identity type use cases. So think of things like mergers and acquisitions, for example. Your company merges with another company. They have their own secrets manager that they need to manage. How do you bring them under the fold? While you figure out, what the long term needs to look like, right? So we can facilitate those types of use cases as well. So essentially making it simple for users and applications and services to rapidly integrate with minimal effort, minimal downtime. And that is pretty much it for the demo. So I will stop here. And Miriam, I'll hand it over to you. See if there's any questions that you want to ask.
Yes, we actually have several questions that have come in during your presentation. So in some cases, you may have actually already addressed, but I think the first one, I'm not sure if you have enough information for this. It says, in order to use dynamic secrets, does the application need to be capable of managing such dynamic secrets? I'm not sure.
No. So if it's a commercially off-the-shelf application, that's pretty easy, right? So from our standpoint, you just click on the application that we have available, and you can set up dynamic secrets. The only thing it needs is that you need to create a root credential and import that into the target. Now, if this is an application that is not commercial off the shelf and you are using a custom producer, The only thing the application needs is to provide webhooks, a create webhook, a revoke webhook, and a rotate webhook. Right. So as long as we have that, we can build in dynamic secrets. So for our internal use cases, as an example, for things like Grafana and Splunk, we use dynamic secrets, right? Even though, the application itself doesn't have any dynamic secret capabilities built into it.
Okay, great. And I see a lot of questions coming in. If we don't get to your question, we'll address you directly after the webinar with an answer. Another question, how easy is the Kubernetes integration and how does it work?
Pretty straightforward. So we support the standard Kubernetes secrets operator as an example, but we also have our Kubernetes secrets injection, which is a mutating webhook. So you install the secrets injector in Kubernetes, and then from there you can configure it to fetch static secrets, dynamic secrets, rotated. It's pretty straightforward and seamless.
Okay, great. Here I have a fairly polite questioner. Hi, Fahmi Kadiri, thanks for the information. Who would be able to create the target? My use case involves creating rotational secrets for Azure app registration. How can I achieve this?
Yeah, so essentially in Akeyless, you have admins. I didn't show you the RBAC component. I skipped that for interest of time. But within RBAC, you can specify what users can and cannot do. So as an example, let's say you're connecting through Azure AD. In Azure AD, we will read the SAML attributes that come back. So one of the SAML attributes may be group memberships. So you can be a member of a group that we can map to and say any member of this group has these admin privileges, right? And so that way, as long as you're a member of that group, you have those admin privs, then those admin privs can give you the capability to create targets. But other users that connect, if they're not part of that AD group or SAML group, then you can define different permissions for them, right? Maybe they can just read and list, but not have the ability to create, or not see anything at all, that they may not need to see the targets.
Hi, I apologize for the background noise here. So then we have someone who has a couple of questions. I'm going to ask you one by one. First is, if I've got it right, the on-prem variant is a gateway that is connected to Akeyless Cloud.
Correct. Yeah. So it is not a air-gapped solution, right? So we don't, I don't think there's any plans in the near term or long term to do anything outside of that. But it's not an air-gapped solution. So you're always connected to the Akeyless SaaS platform. The gateway is connected to the Akeyless SaaS platform, but the gateway can be deployed anywhere, and it can buffer and manage in scenarios where the SaaS is not available for any reason.
Okay, second, is there a way to migrate secrets from other platforms that are specified in automatic migration? And then the examples are Oracle Cloud, KeePass, Bitwarden.
Yeah, it's not part of automatic migration today, but we do have the ability through our CLI and also through scripting to migrate secrets from other tools. Recently, I did one for LastPass. So as long as you can, the easy way is to export those secrets into a CSV format. So once it's exported into a CSV format, you can easily import it through the CLI itself. So that capability is there. But if export is not easily achievable and it's not in CSV, then we can look at writing a small Python script to automate that process.
Okay, this is a big one. I'm not sure if we can just do this in the Q&A. How does your solution compare with HashiCorp's? And follow up, with HashiCorp now being part of IBM, do you see opportunities for replacing them, or is it more of expanding on use cases?
Yeah, it really depends on what problems the customer is trying to solve, right? So we compete pretty well. Respect to HashiCorp, they are they founded the space. And as great as they are, there are use cases and problems that HashiCorp cannot easily solve. We hear it from our customers all the time. And so, for us, it's just a focus of what problems the customers are trying to solve. Typically, what we hear is cost. I've seen many cases where, we talked about developer friction, right? So one of the scenarios I see come up repeatedly is the customers trying to get around the cost of adding another client. And so rather than just using the platform and doing what they need to do, they're having to curb themselves because they don't want to overrun their committed costs that they're paying for. So that could be one use case. Another one could be you're deploying in multiple regions. If you've seen HashiCorp deployment across multiple regions, cloud providers, on-premise, that hybrid use case. It can be challenging. It's multiple clusters, multiple deployments, syncing secrets across them and making that available to different teams. It's not an easy process at all.
And also we do have, I think, a wider rotation capability, automated rotation capability, actually. Right?
Correct. Yeah, we can rotate secrets out of the box.
Okay, another, this is this question just says, demo certificate, he wants, this is someone who wants you to demo certificate rotation to assert authority.
Yeah, so we do integrate with a few cert authorities. Let me see. I don't think I can do the demo today, but happy to discuss offline and show you what that looks like. But if I pull up let me just pull up the UI real quick, and under items, if I go to certificate, no, it's not here. Maybe it's under targets. Give me 1 second. Let me take a look here. Yeah, so we do integrate with, Global Sign, GoDaddy, Sectigo, Venafi, Zero SSL. So in a separate session, Miriam, maybe that's a separate demo that we need to book
That would be
a webinar.
Follow up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see. We have two more questions. Is Akeyless support? Does Akeyless support on-prem Windows and Linux servers, local account password management?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do integrate with Active Directory, so we're able to import, through our automatic migration, import things like service accounts and other local accounts, and then you can specify what the rotation schedule will be in Akeyless. So yes, we'd integrate that way. From a Linux standpoint, we do actually we have one customer that strictly just uses it for that purpose. And it's our, rather than managing SSH keys, we provide a certificate-based management for your Linux system. So they basically, either through our desktop application or our browser extension, or even the CLI, they can run an Akeyless Connect command. The only thing you need to do is deploy the certificate. So we'll create a, for our cert issuer. You just need to deploy that to the machines. So you need a deployment mechanism. But once that's deployed, then through our RBAC and our mechanisms, we're able to facilitate remote access. And not only through SSH, but also through the web UI, right? So we have a secure remote access capability that allows us to just click on the target that we want to connect to, and then we'll be able to access it through the web or through CLI.
Okay, and the final question has come in. Can targets be created using the Akeyless CLI, or is this functionality restricted to admin users only?
Yeah, as long as the user has permissions, right? So you can create targets any number of ways: API, CLI, UI, other CI/CD integrations through automation. So there's a lot of ways, but it falls back on that user or workload that is creating the target just has to be authorized.
Okay, great. So thank you, Fahmi, for a really interesting presentation and demo. And thank you everyone for attending. Of course, you will have a link to the recording afterwards. And for those of you who asked for a follow-up, we'll be looking forward to following up. Thanks, everyone. Have
That's
a good
great.
rest of
Thanks,
your
everyone.
day. Take care.